Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our session. Today's topic is function or functions. Some languages even use the word method. What is function or what is a method? Function always have something to perform, which takes input, process it, and gives us an output. In function, we need to know three terms. A, defining a function. B, calling a function. Most of the time, you people go with second one, calling a function, because it might have already defined, which we call it as function definition. And the second one is obviously invoking a function or calling a function. These are the two major words. There is one more, which we call it as function prototyping. In most of the cases, especially in AMScript, JS, SSJS, you don't do this. It's already been taken care of. So let me jump into this specific word, defining a function and calling a function. Next thing what we need to know is, when I say a word function, it will have a name. B, it will have arguments or parameters. C, it will have return type. This is very, very basic and it is very, very important. Every time when we use the word function, remember this, it will have a name. Based on the language, it might be case sensitive. It might be case sensitive. So when we read a specific language, when we learn a specific language, we learn about it. Parameters or arguments. Some languages use the word arguments, some languages use the parameters. In this, sometimes it might be 0 parameters, 1 parameters, 2, or it might be n. In this, we have two things. Some are required, that is mandatory, and some might be optional. Return type, it will return one value or 0. 100% sure that this is how it works. Now let me explain how it works, how the value goes, how it comes back, and rest of the things. And let me explain you in general. So I'm not sticking on to this to any language. You can apply it to any language which you learn in future. C, C++, Java, AMScript, SSJS, PHP, jQuery, or any. Major of the languages have this function. Okay, some you might define it, some you might call it. Most of the cases you will call it because it is already defined. Functions has to be defined, then only you need to call it. Okay, having said this, let me give you the syntax. Language to language it might vary, but we'll go with the basic fundamental syntax. When we learn the language like SSJS and JavaScript, we'll try to deep dive into those specific languages. For today, it's very fundamental. So let me save this. So while saving, I would like to pause it for a minute. Okay. So let me explain you this one first. Very simple one. I'll explain you this function concept using an Excel file. Okay, let me go with that. But before that, let me explain you calling a function or defining a function. So syntax. This is the syntax for a function definition. First comes return type, space, function name, whatever you can call it. Within the round bracket, you will have to define arguments, or you can even call it as parameters. They use two different words in languages. Flower bracket open, within this you will code anything which you want to code. This is the function definition. But in most of the cases, you will call it. You will call it. Let me go with that syntax, function calling. Syntax, function calling, syntax. Function calling, function invoking. Most of the time, you will be doing this. Most of the time, you will be doing this one. Function invoking. You will have the function name. Then you will send the actual parameters. Actual parameters or actual arguments. That's it. But we need to know the definition, then only you can call it. Without definition, you cannot call it. That's where the documentation comes into picture, where we need to read it and then we need to. So I'll explain you people this one, function invoking, with simple example. And then we will try to understand more about it. Okay? My favorite always in JavaScript is alert function. Alert, prompt, and many more. Okay? Let me save this. Let me open up one more file. Concentrate on function calling. So I'll write a script tag because I'm writing a JavaScript. Alert function. Whenever I use the word function, remember it's very simple. You will see this round bracket. Anything which is there in round bracket will be treated as argument. And what we are learning now is this guy, function calling. Alert is a function. You're just calling it. Within this, you need to use single quotes and then type whatever you want. My favorite is always hello world. I'll save this as HTML. Function calling dot HTML. How do we run it? Very simple. You need to go to your browser, Control O, the shortcut key. SFMC, developer team, functions topic, and double click. Do you see this alert? I can even write it in the developer console. That's where you need to have this more tools, developer tools. You can change it wherever you want. I'll just increase its size. Now I'll type long is a function. Whenever you use the word function, round bracket should be there. Hello world. It's not an error. Actually, it comes with one more object called console. When to write single quotes, when to write double quotes, I'll explain. Hello world. This is a function. Let me write alert. Function. Can you see this? Let me write prompt. Function. Enter a number or enter your name. Can you see this? PROMPT. Spelling is wrong. Can you see this? Prompt, function, function name, round bracket, anything which is mentioned. Enter your name, you can see it here. Because I've specified that parameter, I'll write my name. Keep on observing. This is the function which is called. When I press OK, this will directly return that value into this one. That is return value. You need to catch it. X is equal to prompt. Now X is a variable. Now if I enter the name, it is caught in a variable. Can you see this? Now any value which has been given is caught in. Now I want to clear this. I don't want to use this button, but I want to clear it programmatically. Console dot clear function. Not X. How to clear it? Call the function clear. It's already a defined function. You need to just call it when you want it. Hope you're clear with this. This is a very, very basic of. Now I want to show you one more prompt. I don't specify anything. I will not specify anything. What will happen? Very simple. You get a prompt. There is no value here. Can you see this? I'll click on cancel. It will come with a null value. No worries. Now I want to go with two values. You can send any number of parameters. Now, first parameter, second parameter. Enter your name. Second parameter after comma. Let's see what will happen. Can you see this? Enter your name is in the first place. The second value is kept in this one. If I want, I can change it. I'll change it obviously. Can you see this? How many values? Parameters. Anything which comes in the round bracket is a parameter. Don't worry about any language. Never ever worry. Just concentrate on basic thing. This is the name of the function. Anything which comes in round bracket, we call it as parameters or arguments. Some are mandatory, some are optional. When you give both, you can see the difference. When you don't give it, you will know the difference. Now, what will happen if I write alert? It will just pop up like this. You can send anything you want. If you send it, you'll see it. But it is just alerting. It's a function. Now, let's go with confirm. Function. Are you sure to delete it? You get only OK or cancel. Alert will just give you OK. You have no other option because it's an alert. It is just showing you one more. Are you sure to delete it? If I say OK, you'll get true. Based on this value, we need to work on it. If I click on cancel, what I'm getting? This is the return value. Every function will have a name, will have an argument. Based on the action, it will return a value. In this scenario, if you click OK, it is true. If you click cancel, then this is return value. Alert doesn't have a return value because you have to click OK. That is function. I explained this with the support of JavaScript, and we need to learn more about it. Now I want to define my own function, which I want to call it on a button click. I don't want this alert to come whenever it wants. I want to call it when a button is clicked. Observe this now. This is the syntax of function defining this way. In JavaScript, the syntax is a bit different, but we'll know in detail. But I would like you people to concentrate on the same coding. I'll try to have a button. I'll try to write an HTML. It's fine, don't worry. I'll go with body directly. But actually, we need to follow the basic practices of HTML. For now, I'll go with body tag. I'll try to write a button. on click. This is an attribute or event listener, and this alert should execute when I click on it. I need a function, means you need to define your own function now. Function keyword, name whatever you want. This is my function. You can call anything. Round bracket, open, close, flat bracket. Now what will happen? This is the function name. Do you need any arguments? If you want, you will send it. But for mine, I don't need anything. This function has to be called on the button click. Click now. Now let's see what will happen. Now, before executing, I would like to just ignore this. I just want to remove this first. Save it. This is getting clicked, undoubtedly. Nothing is happening. But I want to do something. That's the reason we need our own function definition. Now observe what will happen. Click, you get hello world. Click, you get hello world. Click, you get hello world. Means this will be called whenever you want it. This is calling. This is calling. This is defining. After this is called, it might return a value. If you want, you can catch it. But in our case, we don't do it as of now. But I want to show you what will happen. On load. I want to call it on load also. Now observe this. On load, this is a scripting language. This is a scripting language. This is executing. This is still working. It should come back. Then only this will be loaded. Can you see the difference? Now it is loaded. Observe it again. Scripting language. Since it is a scripting language, it will execute the first line. This is getting executed. It is not completed yet. So you are not able to see the button. See the observation. This is scripting language. It will be falling under interpreter. There is a video to know the difference between compiled and interpreted language. This is the best example of your interpreted language, how it executes. Before executing the first line, it won't go to the second line. That's the thing how it happens. Let me show you one more. I'll just cut this. I'll paste it below the body. That's fine. Anyhow, this is clicked and then it executes. You can still see. There is no button. I need to click OK, then only the button is visible. Because I usually use Notepad++. This is the best example of the scripting languages. Every line, it starts from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. But this guy or this part of the code will execute when you click it. When you take the mouse over it. Now I want to just change the event. On mouse over, not the click. And I want the onload. I'll just make this spelling mistake. JavaScript will not throw you any error. But you should see it in, there is an error, you should see it in console. If you have any error, you should get this. Now observe it. I just took the mouse over it. Function is called, which is calling one more function. Observe it. I'm not clicking, I'm just moving it. That is the event. There are many events like this. This is the very basic understanding on functions, defining and calling. For more questions, we can have more sessions on this. For now, this is very basic introduction. And based on this basic thing, we'll be learning a lot in SSJS and AMP functions. Because all the functions in SSJS and AMP are defined. You just need to call them in exact right order so that it helps you. You have to just pass the right parameters. That's it. Good. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be on the introduction of SSJS, and then we'll plan the remaining sessions how we need to go, because this is very basic. And before we end this, I would like to recap on 3 words which we discussed. When it comes to a function, you need to define a function and call them. In AMP and SSJS, most of the functions are defined. You just keep on calling it when you want it. Functions will have a name. Some languages might be case sensitive. We need to concentrate on that. Every function will have an argument. Some authors call it as parameters. It will return a value, which we call it as return type. The best example is the video. When it is returning, it returned a value true or false. Function definition. This is very rarely used, but it's good that you should know it. When we need to have same functionality again and again, we can make use of function definition and then calling. This is the most of the time you people use it. Most of the time you will just call the function. We need to just call them. Good. With this recap of the function fundamentals, I'll be ending this session. Thank you for watching.